We are back, and when I did the season preview for the Buckeyes, I mentioned that if this game was really close and competitive by the end of it, I would be worried about the season. Well, for about 3 quarters of this game, I saw the entire season flash before my eyes, but let's get into it a little bit first. And from the first play, I was a little nervous because Notre Dame got the ball first. Their first play was a little screen pass that went for a bunch of yards, and also a really kind of weak sauce roughing the passer penalty, but he did technically, the defender technically did hit him in the head, so the quarterback, he got 15 yards for that. But the defense settled down on the first drive after that, and Notre Dame got a field goal, 3-0. Ohio State, on their first drive, the Notre Dame defense, for reparations, they did give the Ohio State offense 15 yards on the first play, so that was nice of them. But then it was a sack on second down. It kind of felt like a 3-and-out, and the punt goes inside the 5. Notre Dame, on their second drive of the half, pinned deep. They had to call a timeout to avoid a delay of game on third down. They go for a 3-and-out. On the Ohio State's second drive, this is when I thought I started to get a little bit more comfortable. A pass interference call benefits Ohio State. Marvin Harrison would drop a touchdown pass after he hit the ground. He caught it, hit the ground, it fell out. But it wouldn't matter because Emeka Egbuka, I'm sorry if I butchered that, but that's what it looks like to my eyes and my brain. He caught a touchdown pass and making the score 7-3. On Notre Dame's third drive, it's another 3-and-out. Tommy Eichenberg with a sack on third down. Starting with Ohio State's third drive, I was thinking, okay, you're up 7-3. Get us another score to make this a 2-score game, and let's get to going. But that obviously isn't what ended up happening. An underthrow and a run and stuff on a third and short led to a 3-and-out. Notre Dame's fourth drive at their own 15. About there, the first quarter would end during that drive. At the second quarter, there's a circus catch on 3rd and 2 on the first play of that quarter, I believe. That left the defense reeling. It was a big momentum change in favor of Notre Dame. Ohio State called a timeout on 1st and goal from the 1-yard line after Notre Dame drives for a while. It didn't really matter as Notre Dame would get a rushing touchdown immediately. It is 7-10. And on the fourth drive, there was a sideline report that Jackson Smith and Jigba might be hurt. He would end up returning to the game, but he didn't really play much of a factor in this game. Maybe that was just kind of how the offense rolled and how the defense was playing. But, Smith and Jigba didn't really have an explosive game as some might have expected, but it didn't matter in the end. Just something to watch for now. Cade Stover had a really nice catch, but it was only for 1 yard. It was just a nice catch. I figured it was worth mentioning. Ohio State gets to 4th and 3. It looked like there was some consideration about whether they might go for it, but they do end up punting. Notre Dame's fifth drive of the half, starting at their own 5. The defense holds, but there was a review for targeting that is nobody has ever called that targeting ever, even with a lenient view of what could be targeting. It was a travesty that it was even looked at. Thankfully, they don't call it. Again, it was strange that this was even looked at for targeting. But Ohio State's fifth drive of the half, starting at their own 23. It's a really good drive. They move the ball very well, but the drive does stall to Notre Dame 21, and Ruggles does miss the field goal. It is still 7-10. And at this point, there's not much time left in the half. Notre Dame maybe could have scored, but the defense holds strong, and that's basically how the first half ends, with Ohio State trailing 10-7. Again, for about 3 quarters, I was not feeling too good about this game and how the rest of the year was going to go, especially with how the second half started with 3-and-out at Ohio State's first drive when they got the ball first. Notre Dame's first drive was going to start at around the 30, but the penalty moved it up 15 yards. The Notre Dame offense drove a little bit, but the defense plays, very good bend, don't break. The defense was great, and I'll get into some more of that after this rundown's over. Notre Dame's punt. Ohio State gets their next drive at their own 6. Miyan Williams already showing signs of what we would see from him in the fourth quarter. A Stroud overthrow on 1st and 10 at their own 25 in that drive. The offense sputters a little bit, and they have to end up punting. Notre Dame's second drive of the half, there's a 3rd and 6 conversion that was really annoying. Tyler Mayer, I believe that was his name, also almost fumbled on that conversion, but he ended up recovering his own fumble, so too bad. Notre Dame calling timeout again to avoid delay of game. Second time it would happen in the game. It would happen again later in the half. The defense would hold strong, and Notre Dame would punt. Ohio State's third drive of the half started at around their own 30. A really good catch, again, by Emeka Egbuka on the first play. The offense is showing really signs of life. I noticed C.J. Stroud doing on handoffs, a kind of a weird like fake rollout thing where it looked like he might pull the ball back and roll out, but he actually ended up handing it off. So maybe it's kind of like the reverse of a play action where they're trying to make the defense think that it might be a pass, but instead it's a run, kind of like a weird draw kind of thing. I don't know. Travion Henderson takes a rough shot blocking penalty when they were driving. It looks like it was going to be a drive killer, but then out of nowhere on a third and 11, a touchdown pass to Xavier Johnson. If you had him on your bingo card, then congratulations. You're smarter and more in tune to the Buckeyes than I am, I guess. That gives the Buckeyes the lead back to make it 14-10. Notre Dame gets a third drive started going on their own 14. It was a really good kickoff coverage there. Notre Dame, once again, has to call another timeout to avoid delay of game. A big pass play ends the third quarter. In the fourth quarter, it's all Ohio State in this corner after an offensive pass interference for Notre Dame stalls their drive out. Ohio State gets the drive starting at their own 5-yard line, but the run game is just cooking now. Miyan Williams, not even on, he ran the ball very well this drive, but maybe his most impressive play was actually a catch that he had on third down where CJ Stroud does a nice job extending the play. He throws it, and Miyan Williams with a great sideline catch, especially for a running back. But the Stroud rollouts were working well at this point in the game. Miyan Williams just was tremendous on this drive. He would not be denied. He got stuffed once on the goal line. The sideline looked like Travion Henderson might replace him, and Miyan just looked at the sideline and said, "No, I got this. I got one more left in me," is what Miyan Williams said, and he gets the rushing touchdown immediately after. 21-10. Now it's a 2-score game with only that drive did take up a lot of time on the clock. There's only about half the quarter left. Doesn't look good for Notre Dame. Looks like this game is under control. Notre Dame does get the ball. They do still have a bit of a realistic shot, but it's a 3-and-out because of a Mike Hall sack. Mike Hall was a defender who I haven't singled out yet, but Mike Hall was tremendous on the defensive line. He was in the backfield almost all night, it seemed. So it was a really good game for him, too. Ohio State getting their 5th drive at their own 11. Travion Henderson with a couple of nice runs. Even CJ Stroud, who again didn't run maybe as much as you would have liked to see. There were some opportunities where he felt like he maybe could have gotten some yards if he decides to tuck that ball and run it, but didn't end up mattering at the end. He got a quarterback sneak going for 5 yards, so even he wanted in on the rushing yards action. And then after that, got a first down. It goes into victory formation. Ohio State ends up winning the game 21-10. We can all, wipe our brows and hope that the fourth quarter that we saw to the Ohio State Buckeyes was more of what we're going to see moving forward. We hope that they're just shaking off a bit of the rust the first time playing against somebody not themselves. And while Notre Dame might be overrated and might not be worth the 5th best team in the country, Notre Dame probably is going to be one of the better teams that they play all season until the Big Ten Championship and the playoffs start. So this was a really good test for Ohio State. It was rough going early, but the defense was great all game. If the concerns that Buckeye fans had about the defense should be quelled at least a little bit, there wasn't any. They shut him out in the second half. The defense completely shut down Notre Dame's offense, who looked, especially early on in the game after that first play, like it might be a long night for the defense. But after that, they clamped it down, and good for them. The offense. They gave the offense time to sputter around and start up, and when they did, it was game over. If that game was going for 5 quarters, there's no way Notre Dame escapes with a respectable score, but the game has to end when it does. And Ohio State looked great after, in the fourth quarter looked great. The first 3, defense looked really good. The offense took a little bit to start. Hopefully in future games that's not a problem. Hopefully that's just like a team chemistry gelling thing. Again, Jackson Smith and Jigba and Ian Fleming, both wide receivers not really clicking much today. Maybe if they have an explosive game, then that changes in the offense starts to click better. So I'm obviously after this game, I'm actually I'm optimistic about how the season will go. Like I already pretty much was. But this kind of confirms that, Ohio State should have very big expectations for this year. They should be looking at a Big Ten championship win, obviously, a playoff appearance, and who knows from there, maybe a national championship. That's always in the picture for Ohio State. But we'll see how this year unfolds. Thank you all for watching. If you made it this far, please feel free to leave a like and a subscribe if you enjoyed the video and look to see more like it. Let me know what you think about this game and how you think Ohio State's going to do in the next upcoming weeks. They have some of their cupcake opponents coming up, and then Wisconsin, I think, is their first Big Ten opponent. Let me know how you feel about that in the comments. Thank you all again for watching, and I will see you at the next one.